Welcome back. The state Supreme Court has set a tentative date for Indiana's next execution.
But after 2 expensive doses of that lethal injection went unused recently, Governor Braun voiced concerns about the cost of execution. 21 Investigates reporter John Wagner explains.
A year ago last month, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita and then Governor Eric Holcomb announced they were seeking to resume executions. 15 years after the state's last, Joseph Corcoran of Fort Wayne was put to death the week before Christmas of 2024. Many remember Corcoran was convicted of killing his brother and 3 others here in Fort Wayne back in 1997. Benjamin Ritchie was next in line. His sentence was carried out back in May, nearly 25 years after he shot and killed a Beech Grove officer back in 2002. Last month, Governor Braun revealed the state recently paid more than $1 million for 4 doses of pentobarbital, but 2 doses expired before they could be used, wasting $600,000 in taxpayer money. Governor Braun said he wouldn't support the state buying any more, just to let it expire.
Which I think people agree is good financial sense because it's a very expensive drug. And now it seems like we're going to authorize a dose for Roy Lee Ward.
Right now, the execution date that's been set for Ward is tentative. The governor, his office, has said that assuming that date sticks, they're not going to purchase that drug until closer to that date to ensure that it does not expire.
But who is Ward? We're taking a look back at the original trial as it played out. The details inside this report from WFIE in Evansville are extremely difficult to hear and may not be for everyone at home.
About a dozen friends and relatives of the Payne family sat through the graphic testimony. Since Stacy died in a Louisville hospital, it was a Kentucky deputy state medical examiner who performed her autopsy. Donna Hunsaker drew diagrams and showed pictures of the various injuries Stacy suffered in her Spencer County home on July 11, 2001. Vaginal cuts and bruises from sexual assault. A gaping wound to her neck so deep it slashed her windpipe and jugular vein. And a cut that went from her abdomen all the way around to her back that nearly cut the 15-year-old in half. In 45 minutes, they came back with the recommendation that Roy Lee Ward be sentenced to death.
Nearly 20 years later, the state says Ward has exhausted his appeal attempts and looks to move forward with his execution as soon as October. But what about Governor Braun's recent comments?
You have the governor saying publicly, look, maybe we should think about all this and revisit how we handle capital punishment. And then you have the Attorney General's office saying we want an execution date. And then the state Supreme Court saying we're just doing our job by providing that date. What does the rush seem to be to put a man to death who's been on death row since the early 2000s? Do you think there's something not lining up between the Attorney General's office and the governor's office?
You would have to ask them that.
21 Investigates did. We reached out to Governor Braun, and we asked the Attorney General's office if they'd consider holding off on those requests for execution dates in favor of letting lawmakers weigh in on the situation and come up with a solution that saves Hoosier taxpayers money. We did not immediately hear back. We will keep you posted on the cost of execution. For 21 Investigates, I'm John Wagner reporting.